Welcome to Solutions with Courtney Anderson. I am Courtney Anderson, and I am thrilled that you took time out of your life to join in with the program. Today, we are part of our Joyful Art of Business series. Our Joyful Art of Business is, of course, our concept, foundational concept of everything we do, the idea that we want to assess the entire return on investment or ROI on our endeavors, our professional endeavors, whether they're paid or volunteer, and we want to make sure that we're feeling okay and that we're not doing something because we want other people to think that we're successful. We want other people to like us or admire us. We want to make sure that what we're doing, we want to do it, that we like it, and that more often than not, we have good feelings. We call that the joyful feeling. Not every second of every moment of our lives, but overall, there's more positive than negative. And so this is episode 157. Episode 157 of Solutions with Courtney Anderson. And today, our specific show, which is of course part of the Joyful Art of Business series, is Fake It Till You Make It. Fake it till you make it. Fake it till you make it. So here we are, and we're looking at this concept, which is sort of one of those ideas that is out there in sort of popular culture and in our sort of narratives. This idea that I'm going to fake it till I make it. Fake it until I make it, right? And it's very pervasive in a lot of our motivational, self-empowerment, self-help work, right? This whole idea, you just got to fake it till you make it. So let's talk about this idea and see how we might potentially assess if this is going to be something that's going to help us, again, surpass our goals, which is what we're focusing on in our programs. And so, again, I encourage you to come to CourtneyAnderson.com. We are literally expanding the material available on the website daily, and we create show notes and show pages for each episode. So if you come to CourtneyAnderson.com, come to the show page for episode 157, which of course is Fake It Till You Make It. You'll see expanded notes, links, our show sponsor are there, and I really do encourage you to do that. Also want to ask you if the show is of any use to you, that you rate us on iTunes and that you share on your social media. Let other people know what we're doing, and I really do appreciate that, and thank you. So the idea, of course, fake it till you make it. First, what does it mean? Right? What are they talking about? What are we faking till we make? Right? What is it? Typically, we're talking about, and this idea comes up in ideas, like I said, in our lives, professionally especially, or in our this idea that, oh, okay, you got a new job, you got a promotion, you just finished a training program or a degree, now you're you, right? So you're still yourself, but you're you and you're a police officer, you're you and you're a nurse, you're you and you're a physicist, you're you and you're the professor, you're the lawyer, you're the truck driver, you're the manager, you're the dog groomer, like whatever it is, right? And this whole concept is that you're going to be this thing, so you're still yourself, right? But you're going to be this thing, and that you're going to sort of fake whatever the goal is, fake whatever the vision or the stereotype of the image is of a manager, of a professor, of a truck driver, of a shift supervisor, whatever it is, of a mother, of a father, right? Of a lot of this in our personal lives, people will say, well, I don't, what does it mean? What does it mean to be a parent? What does it mean to be a spouse? What does that mean? Am I this? Am I a dad? Am I a mom? Am I a wife? Am I a husband? What is this? So this whole idea is that there's some sort of change or new opportunity, and that you are the consistent, right? You yourself, and that you're going to go into this new opportunity or this change, and you're just going to pretend to be that thing until you make it, until you are that thing. And you hear this often with the idea of sort of the generic goals, very generic, of being successful. So you're going to fake it. You're going to fake success until you make it, until you are successful, right? You're going to fake it. I'm pretending I'm successful, and I'm faking it because I will be that thing. And these are difficult, and I think much more complex ideas to discuss and analyze than you might initially think. Because it's sort of the, immediate response for a lot of people is, well, that makes sense. You do fake it until you make it, right? And again, you hear this in all types of settings. So if somebody, is adopting a child, it's their first child, right? So they're thinking, wow, I've never been a parent, right? So what does that mean? Am I a dad? Am I a mom? What does that mean? And a lot of people in discussion will say, well, you just fake it, right? You get in there and you do your best and you have good knowledge. I mean, you need to learn some sort of basics, right? What do I need to do in terms of, treating and if there's some sort of a minor medical emergency, what are some things I need to be aware of depending on the age of my child? But people say you just fake it. And then eventually you may not feel, like your dad, but over time, you'll make it. You'll become this thing, right? So in the beginning, you just pretend like you're that thing and do what dads do, right? Even though inside you may not immediately feel and perceive yourself as this thing, because you'll still think maybe, well, I'm just me, right? I'm not necessarily in my head defining myself as this thing, this new opportunity or this new change. And I think that's sort of, again, it seems just on the face of it, right? Prima facie, like, okay, that seems reasonable. You're in this new position. You've never been a manager before. You're just going to sort of go in there and fake what you think a manager does or what your perception is of what a good manager is. And then eventually, you'll feel like you're this thing, that there'll sort of be a lag between the opportunity and the change. And then you sort of starting to see yourself that way, right? So now, after a while, you'll see yourself ideally, right? That's the make it part. Now I feel like I've made it. I'm a great dad. I feel like I've made it. I'm an awesome manager or whatever. So that's sort of the idea. And it like I said, it is more sophisticated, I think, than again it might seem at the outset, because it raises a couple of sort of basic questions. One, the big one, who are you? And the reason that that's so hard is because you have to be the one to decide. Are you a manager? Are you a dad? Are you a wife? Are you a pilot? Are you a firefighter? And when you have a situation where somebody gets into the new opportunity or change, and then they stay and they really are giving it their best effort, but it just isn't the right thing for them. You'll hear that all the time. People say, well, I went and I became a professional over the road truck driver, and even though I was able to do the job, it just wasn't for me, right? I wasn't happy. I never felt like this was the right place for me to spend a lot of my professional time, and so I changed careers. Or you'll have people say, well, I married this person, and I did everything I thought I could, and it just wasn't the right thing for me, so the marriage ended. Or someone will say, hey, I was a manager, and that's not the right thing for me, so now I'm not managing anymore. Okay. So who are you is the first part of this. And again, that's really personal. And you have to be the one to answer it. The second part, though, goes to this idea that if you have decided that you do desire to do this new opportunity or change, right? Then you have this layer where you're going to have to make decisions, again, based on who you are, how you define yourself, that are going to give a consequence of confidence. So when in the show notes, and again, this is episode 157, so CourtneyAnderson.com, episode 157, come to the show page, you'll see links. And one of the primary source that usually linked to is a book out by two journalists, and the book is entitled The Confidence Code: The Science and Art of Self-Assurance, What Women Should Know. And it's based, so two authors wrote this book, and then they have some media articles and coverage talking about these concepts from the book. And so there's a link in the show notes to one of those articles, and it's an article entitled The Confidence Gap, and it's in the Atlantic, so the periodicals in the Atlantic. And so this is an article based on these two authors, which looks like Katie Kay and Claire Shipman, the authors of this book, where they're sort of talking about these ideas of confidence. So their book is, entitled The Confidence Code, and then this article is entitled The Confidence Gap. And within it, it cites different types of research and data in this whole area of faking it till you make it. And the idea of faking it, so whatever it is, right, is that I'm this thing, that this opportunity or changes, this position, this new job title, this new role in a family, I'm this new thing. And we said we're going to fake that thing until we feel like we've actually become that thing. We make it, right? So that, I said, is based on a couple of questions. Who are you? Who do you think you are is, I guess, a bit of a more effective question, right? And I said that there's a consequence of you answering the question of who you are and who you think you are, that can relate to this or result in this outcome of confidence. So what is confidence? Okay. In the article that I referenced in The Atlantic from the authors of the book that I referenced on confidence, there's a definition. So this is a sort of a feature article, and there's a part in there that talks about a definition of confidence. So come to the show page and you'll see all of this in the links. And it's a professor at Ohio State University, a psychology professor, and he spent decades researching confidence. And this is the quote from the article. It says, confidence is the stuff that turns thoughts into action. Confidence is the stuff that turns thoughts into action. So you can see how this relates, right? I'm thinking things, and we've done lots of other programs where we try to get into this idea of how much time and investment and location determination we put into the thinking, how important thinking is, just listening to your own thoughts, right? And we also have talked about in other programs that there's research that says you and I, all of us, we think about 70,000 thoughts a day. So 70000. That's a relatively large number, I would think, right? If we were counting from 1 to 70,000, that's a bit of numbers. So we think, and there's some data, and we have the links in other shows where we think about 70,000 thoughts a day. This Ohio State University psychology professor, says confidence is a stuff that turns thoughts into action. Well, that seems simple. Now, we talked about thoughts. We know we have a amount of thoughts in our daily lives. Some of them are sort of mundane. We think things like, oh, I'm hungry, I'm thirsty, I have to use the restroom, I need to brush my teeth. What time is it? Those types of things. And then we have other thoughts that might relate to this idea of who are we, or who do we think we are. And the result of answering the question of who am I, right? Who do I define myself as, can result in this idea that we'll turn the thoughts into actions. So we're all thinking. We're thinking all the time, right? Confidence is this outcome that we turn these thoughts into things we're doing that are manifesting in action. The idea of faking it, though, is exactly what it sounds like. Fake, not authentic. Fake, pretend. And what the article is trying to address, my interpretation, obviously, is that there are people who feel like, okay, there's this new opportunity or change, right? I'm going to be a manager. I'm going to be a, long haul truck driver. I'm going to be, supervisor. I'm going to be waitress or whatever. But in their mind, they don't see themselves as that thing, right? So they understand that there's an opportunity. Hey, the job is yours if you want it, or hey, you're interested in adopting, and now we have a potential match. Okay, so now here's the opportunity. It presents itself, right? So we're talking about before you accept it, because there's a process to this, right? Yes, I'll accept the new job. Yes, I'll move to the new town. Yes, I'll marry the person. Yes, we'll adopt a child or get pregnant and give birth to a child. I mean, there's a process to all of this. In that gap between the potential opportunity, the opportunity being there availably, maybe, and then you making the decision to commit to this. Yes, I will come into the new job and I'll be there on Tuesday. Yes, I will marry you. Yes, let's do this. Let's get pregnant. Let's adopt. There's that, right? The gap between the opportunity and the decision is everything in this process. And if in that gap between, oh, should I take that job, or would I be a good manager, or do I really think this is the right thing for me? In that process, if you have not answered the question, who do you think you are, affirmatively, that yes, I believe I am this thing. I am a parent. I am a spouse. I am a manager. I am a waitress. I am a dancer. I am a professional athlete. I don't care what it is. If in your mind you've answered this affirmatively that you believe you are this thing, Then it is authentic. So you might say, yes, let's expand our family. Let's adopt a child. Let's get pregnant. Okay. Once you commit to that, if in your mind you have answered the question and said, you know what, never done it before. I'm not really sure what exactly will happen. I know it'll be, interesting and awesome and scary at times. I'm aware of that, but I am this thing. I am this thing. If you have answered the question in your mind affirmatively, I am this thing, then you're not going to have any gap. You're going to go through the process of making the decision, and if you decide and believe at the time of the decision, I am this thing, I am a manager. And when I show up, for the first day of this new job, I'm managing because I'm a manager. If you're finishing a training program or a degree and you're thinking, you know what, graduation day's coming, I am this. Not that I was a student, not that I just studied it, but like I am this. I am an electrician. I am an attorney. That's the part that's the most sort of fraught section of this whole thing. If in the process while you're and certainly I've experienced this, we all have experienced this in many ways, right? It's sort of like even becoming an adult. This is I think somewhat hopefully universal example. You're going through life, right? And you're, so depending on where you are in the world, culturally and the expectations of the society, there's an age where you're still sort of seen as a child. And at some point, there are either things that happen developmentally or culturally or even some, in terms of milestones or just birth dates. And at some point you're recognized in your society as you're an adult. Now the deal is that yesterday you weren't an adult, right? So let's say it's your part of the world where the legal age is 18. Okay, so at 18 years old, now you're an adult. What does that mean? Well, you can sign contracts, you can work full time, you're gonna have to register for the military depending on your situation and where you are in the world. In many parts of the world, you're an adult now. All of the responsibility of being an adult it's open. Now the day before, right, you were still 17 and many months and you weren't an adult, so you couldn't do all these things. You'd have to get your parents' permission. You would have to, you were prohibited from so many things. Now you're not. You're out there, you're an adult. Now the age is, maybe 16, it may be 18, it may be 21 for something. But whenever you hit that age, the day before you weren't that thing. Right? And then all of a sudden now you're told, now, hey, you're an adult. Now the thing is that just happened. Now you knew it was going to happen. But it's the switch in your mind going from I'm just me and I'm not an adult to this all of a sudden the decision, although this, you could make an argument that there's a decision. I guess at some level there is, but now you have to convince you have to see yourself differently. Am I really an adult? Because yesterday I wasn't. And the lag of that period where sometimes people feel like, okay, I hear that I'm an adult. Now I get all these opportunities. I can go out and do what I want to, right? To some ways, I can work, I can sign a contract for a lease or get a flat or an apartment. I can serve in all types of work positions. I can legally do all kind of stuff. It's in your head, though, how you see yourself. So even though it's changed, and yesterday you couldn't do any of this stuff, but now it's all open. How do you see yourself? Do you see yourself as an adult at 18 immediately? And that sort of transition is similar to, in some ways, what happens every other thing in your life, right? I'm doing a different family situation. I'm getting married or I'm getting divorced. That you hear that all the time. When certainly as a lawyer, when I did a lot of family law, divorces, things of that nature, I hear a lot of people say, "But this is what I am. I'm the wife. I'm the husband. I'm the mom. I'm the dad. But now you're not that thing anymore because you're divorced." Or you're not that thing because your children are now adults. They're adults. Now you're still their parent, but they're not kids. And they may have gone out into the world living their own lives and living in their own places. And it's transitioning. It's hard for people. So all of this is this idea of how do you see yourself? Who are you? Who do you define yourself to be? If you believe that you are that thing, and if getting ready to get to 18, you're thinking, yeah, I'm ready for this. I am an adult. And as soon as my birthday is here and I wake up that day, I'm ready. I see myself. I define myself as an adult. I define myself as a manager. I define myself this way. Then you're going to be in a place where you authentically believe. You actually believe you are this thing. And you're not faking anything because you believe you're this thing. My argument would be that ideally that's a healthier and easier position to be in. And the benefit of believing you are that thing and preparing as much as you can, whether it's a birthday or a new job or a new family situation coming up, and saying to yourself, I've made the commitment, I've made the decision, I understand this is what's happening, I'm prepared, I am this thing, I see myself this way. Now I understand that I'm going to make mistakes, I'm going to be nervous, I'm scared, I have apprehension, I'm sure something awesome will be great that'll happen, and maybe probably some awful things will happen too. If you're ready for all of that, then you're not faking anything because you believe it. Now, maybe your first day as an adult, it may be your first day as a manager, it may be your first day as a husband, but you believe you are this thing, okay? And so now you're not faking it because you went right to analysis, planning, making the analysis, making the decision. I am this thing. I am this thing. Now, there's going to, again, there's always a process. It'll be, there'll be surprises, there'll be disappointments, there'll be wonderful things and horrible things and all of that. But you were prepared, so you're not faking it. And if you look in the show notes, I'm back that same source from the authors about confidence, about the confidence code, the article in the Atlantic. Listen to this. True overconfidence is not mere bluster. And then it talks to an expert. The expert thinks the reason extremely confident people don't alienate others is that they aren't faking it. Now just listen to this again. The reason extremely confident people do not alienate others is that they are not faking it. They genuinely believe they are good. And that self-belief is what comes across. Again, they genuinely believe they are that thing. The text says they are good. And that self-belief is what comes across. Fake confidence just doesn't work in the same way. Studies suggest that others can see the tells. What does that mean? It means that we're humans, right? We're organisms, and we're the same species, and we can read each other's body language and eye contact and everything else. And you give away in your totality of your being the real messages that are coming through to especially to other people, irrespective of what you say. I can watch you and you may say that you feel great, but I can look at you and see you look miserable and unhappy. Those are the tells, right? You're giving away what you really feel through the rest of your confidence communication pathways, body language, eye contact, the way you're sitting or standing, your posture, all of this. So the text goes on, and I'm somewhat paraphrasing. The text goes on to say, no matter how much bravado someone musters, when he doesn't genuinely believe he is good, others pick up on his shifting eyes and rising voice and other giveaways. Most people can spot fake confidence from a mile away. This is really, really important. The show episode is Fake It Till You Make It. My argument is, and what I'm putting forward is, you don't want to do this unless, as a worst case scenario, you fake it till you make it. Ideally, you want to come up with a new framework so you're not faking it, because other people can tell when you're faking it. And the most effective thing to do is actually just believe it. You don't have to fake it, just be it. Now, you can do that with caveats. That's why I kept saying, I'd say, well, okay, yeah, I know I'm going to be an adult, or I know I'm going to be a manager, or whatever. I know I'm going to be in this new job. And part of how you can help yourself answer the question that you believe you are that thing is to put caveats and understand, look, it doesn't mean I know everything or even anything about it. It doesn't mean that I'm not going to have problems, and it doesn't mean I'm not scared. All it means is that, yes, I see myself as this because this is it. And when you do that, then it opens up this opportunity for you to actually have this thing called confidence, which is, according to our source there from the professor at Ohio State University, it's what turns our thoughts into action. And it makes it where we don't even deal with this stuff about trying to fake it. Because when I fake it, other people know I'm faking it. right? The quote said, most people can spot fake confidence from a mile away. How do they spot it? I can hear it in the tone of your voice. I can see it in your body language. Now, there are different cultural nuances to this. Some cultures really expect a lot of eye contact directly. Some cultures expect very little. Some cultures have different expectations for how close you stand to other people. Some cultures have different expectations to the volume of your voice. But the basics are universal. If you say to somebody, I'm so glad to be here today. Are you? Am I? I'm so glad to be here today. No, you're not. You're nervous. You're scared. You're worried. You don't think you should be in the job. You're not even faking it. If you say to somebody, I'm so glad to be here today. All right. You might be a little overly enthusiastic depending on the culture, but I believe you. I really do believe you are. The article that's in the show notes that I've been reading from and referencing is really talking about gender issues. They're talking about disparities in between men and women in terms of confidence, things of that nature, which is just fascinating. We have other shows where we talk about that more in depth. What this show was asking is sort of the basic idea: do you faking it till I make it? Good idea, great idea, super awesome idea, not maybe the best idea. And my argument is that it's not the best idea, because while you're faking it, other people can read the fact that you're faking it. Now, some people are exceptionally good performers. Usually, though, they're so, I mean, when I say exceptionally good, I'm talking like Oscar caliber, Tony Award winning actors. They're that good that they embody that character. Most of the people who are that good at acting and performing, when you read their process, because it's a profession and it's a process, there's tons of different schools of thought and ways people approach it, but there's sort of this core thing that the person who's really just the wonderful actor, the person who projects that they are that thing when they really aren't, they're pretending. It's an imaginary character, or maybe it's a real character that they're acting out. The thing is that they go through some kind of process, right, where they have their own way, which may be in conjunction with their programs of formal study or informal, where they get into that, they say that character's head, like they become that character, and they believe that they are that, at least and that means that they went through sort of in some sort of very broad way the process that we're talking about in our regular lives. Yes, I'm going to be a parent. When I bring our baby home, when we bring home our new adopted child. Yes, I'm going to be a spouse when I say I do. Yes, I'm going to be a manager when I show up at that place, with that job position. Yes. And it's scary. Yes. I'm going to be an adult when I wake up on that day, because that's that birthday. And now, according to that culture and those expectations, now this is me. I'm going to be the one. I'm the adult. All of this is frightening. That's why I kept saying with caveat. So when you say to yourself, I'm this thing, you don't say I'm this thing and I'm the greatest in the history of the universe and I'm flawless and I'll never make a mistake, because now you're into hubris and narcissism and all kind of other problems that are unrealistic and unhealthy and can lead to negative outcomes, because it's not realistic. Everyone makes mistakes. And when you're new to something, you just started it, then of course you're going to make more mistakes because you don't have the experience. But you have to believe you're that thing before you show up, because then you don't have to worry about it because you're not faking it. What are you faking? You're not faking that you should be there. You should be there because you believe you should. And it makes all of the difference, because that's the message you communicate to everybody else, and your life is going to be easier and more effective, because confidence is that thing where people believe you. How do they believe you? Because you believe you. And many people would want you to be happy. People who care about you and love you, and your family, friends, and colleagues, and people that are in your life. And then there are a lot of other people who don't even know you and I exist. There's, over 7 billion people on the planet. So of course that makes sense. And then there are other people who may know we exist, but they don't like us. Some of them may despise us, and they're not rooting for us to succeed at all. They'd love for our new job to fail and us to be fired or embarrassed, or they'd love for us to mess up and ruin everything in our new family. They'd love it because they don't like us or they despise us. They want something bad to happen to us. Now, that's, again, not a healthy use of their time and resources in terms of energy investing in those types of things, but it happens. So if you go into a situation where you don't believe in you, and then you expect other people to fall for you and believe in you, it doesn't even make any sense, especially the people who don't like you to begin with or who despise you. They're delighted that you're scared. They know you don't think you should be there. Now, when you think about this idea, right, how many narratives and you in all types of art, in novels and in plays and in movies and in songs. There's this narrative, right? The person didn't believe in themselves, and then somebody came along, a great coach or teacher or family member or person who loved them romantically, and they believed in them, and then that taught the person to believe in themselves, and that's like a really powerful narrative. Well, yeah, why? Because it's a common challenge that when you don't believe in yourself, that you're going to get negative outcomes at some level, because other people know you don't believe in yourself. And people who definitely aren't rooting for you to succeed, they can pick up on that, on all the weakness. The weakness is the part where you don't believe it. Go to that show page and look at that quote again. The reason extremely confident people don't alienate others is that they are not faking it. They aren't faking it. They genuinely believe they are good. And that self-belief is what comes across. All the things that we discuss in every single one of the shows, right? Meeting and surpassing our goals, getting stuff done. It doesn't happen sometimes at all. Sometimes it doesn't happen as well as it could or efficiently as it could if you in your own mind don't think that that's where you belong. Because if you don't believe it, then why am I going to believe it? Especially if I don't like you or I despise you. Now, if I really care about you and I'm your best friend or I'm your relative or I'm your spouse, I'm going to tell you, well, whatever you do, I believe in. Yeah, it's my job, right? I care about you. But that's a few select people on the planet. The majority of people on the planet don't know we exist. And then the other group that does know we exist, they're not sitting around worried about how happy we are. That's not their mission. They're not our close best friend. They're not our spouse. You have to make a decision. I'm arguing before the event comes to fruition, even if it's just, very short notice. Do I want to do this? Am I ready for this? Am I this thing? Now, remember, believing you're this thing doesn't mean that that's going to be the thing you do for the rest of your life. You may get into a job, try being a manager, and realize, I am this thing, I have lots of confidence, and I feel good about it, but I don't like it. I didn't enjoy it. So I'm going to go do something else. But you really have to make the decision. Again, who are you? Who do you think you are? And this narrative and this sort of the trope where you're waiting on some other external force to come along and tell you how great you are, and that their, sort of belief in you will make you believe in yourself. Does that happen? Yes. Is it something that I would place all of my hopes on? Absolutely not. We've had other programs we talked about. Do you need a mentor? Do you need one? No. Would it be great if you have one? That's awesome. Yes. But should you sit around waiting? Oh, I don't have the right friend. I don't have the right family. I don't have the right mentor. I don't have the right person to tell me they believe in me, so I won't do anything. You're going to have potentially a lifetime to do nothing then, because you might not ever get that great mentor, best friend, romantic partner. It may not happen. But what does that have to do with you going out and doing what you want to do to the best of your ability? Nothing. It's inside of your own thoughts. And it's free, which is the most awesome thing ever. It's why these things are so challenging when you look at them when I'm doing consulting or mentoring, especially one-on-one. It's sort of like, hey, it's free and you have the answer. Sometimes the answer is the reason that somebody's, I'm not really sure, don't really think, I don't really want to, I don't know if I'd be good as getting married. I'm not sure I'd be a good husband. Sometimes the real answer is you don't want to do it. Like, you don't see yourself as that thing because you don't want to be that thing. That's not what you want to do. Just own that then. And as nicely as you can, be respectful of other people, but of yourself. I don't want to. I'm going to decline that. And this again ties to what we talk about in so much of the management magicians in the employment area. Just because somebody's really good at a certain job, do not just assume they want to be promoted to the manager, because most people don't want to be manager. And this leads to a ton of problems where, they were the best person in that whole department, so I'll promote them to lead it. They don't want to lead it. That's why they were doing well being the best person in the department. That's what they like. And they don't want to be manager of the whole thing. So the responsibility is two-part. One, for managers, supervisors, HR to understand that process. And two, as an individual, you and I are responsible. You have to tell people. And you have to be assertive with this. I thought about it, and I really appreciate that opportunity. It's just not something that I want to pursue right now, so I'm going to decline. And no matter what they say, oh no, but you'd be great at it. You hear that all the time, right? People, you'd be the best manager. You'd be a great parent. You'd be the most wonderful whatever. Yeah, maybe I would. The question isn't whether I'd be good at it. The question is whether or not I want to do it. Those are two totally different questions. There are many things that you and I could do competently or even very well in terms of the quality of our work. But if we don't like doing it, what does it matter? And we're the one that has to be responsible for this. So faking it is, my estimation, a not good choice. You're going to not get good outcomes. And my argument and what I've been trying to put forward in the show is there's an easy, cheap, free alternative. Just believe it. If it's authentic, then you're going to have a much easier life. You're going to not be in conflict with yourself. The thing is, when you don't believe it, right, when you're trying to fake it, then you have this constant sort of psychological battle going on all the time because you're trying to do the work, right? So you're there, it's your new first day as manager, but you don't believe it, right? But you said to yourself, I'll just fake it. I'll just fake it. I'll just go there and fake it. So now all day while you're at the job, you're literally trying to listen to what's going on and pay attention to the work. But inside of your own brain, you've got this battle where you're constantly in tension with all this stress, where you're telling, part of you saying to yourself, you shouldn't be here. You're not good enough. You're not smart enough. You're going to fail. They should have given the job to somebody else. You're never going to be able to do this, blah, blah, blah. So you're layering all this extra conflict and inside of your ability to process information and do anything. Like, how on earth are you going to enjoy it? And part of, I think, the idea of fake it till you make it is that that you're faking it, right? Like, oh, I'm a manager. Oh, I'm a professor. Oh, I'm a truck driver. Oh, I'm a pilot. Oh, I'm whatever. And then eventually you believe that you become the thing. That's what make it, I think, is referring to. At some point you become that thing and that you believe you're the thing. And then the stress and everything goes away, the anxiety and the battle and all this kind of stuff. My point is, why don't you just skip to that part initially? You don't need to go through the fake it part at all. And it's a total, when you put yourself in the position where you're faking it, you're at such risk. One, you're spending all this mental energy and anxiety and pain and battling yourself. Two, anybody who's not your super fan, who doesn't care about you and doesn't want you to succeed, sees all that. And it makes you a prime target for them to try to do everything in their power because somebody else wants to be that thing. Somebody else would love to adopt that child. Somebody else would love to marry that person. Somebody else would love that job. And if they see you waffling in it and see you as vulnerable, then they're going to do everything they can. All that somebody has to do to go to someone who's faking it is just go, and I mean gently. So the person's there, they're the new manager. Okay, so, all right. And there's somebody there who does not want them to be manager. Maybe they wanted the job. Maybe they want somebody else to have it. It doesn't matter. Maybe they just despise that person for some other random reason. They don't even care about the job. If they see that you're faking it, which everyone can see, and the research in the article and the show notes was showing you, they can see it in your eyes, they can see it in your facial expression, they can hear it in the tone of voice, they can see it, they can feel it, they can smell it to some extent. It's true. Right? The research said, hey, they can spot fake confidence a mile away, and let's assume that that's accurate. So there you are. I'm so happy to be here today. I'm looking forward to leading the department. Okay, so it's obvious you're not, right? The person who wants to sabotage you can very easily do this. All they have to do is say something like, maybe you finish the presentation, everyone's leaving the meeting where you just said those statements, which aren't true, about how you're happy to be there. And the person who does not want you to be there, all they have to do on the way out is say something like, oh, nice speech, but I never would have thought they would have given it to someone with your inexperience. All they have to do is say something or do something to reinforce all your fears. You're not good enough. You're not smart enough. You're not ready. You're going to fail. It should have gone to some. All they have to do is just say anything like that. They can say it like that, gentle. And it's going to just go right to the core of the person who's faking it and just completely be incredibly effective to destroy them. Right? Because they're already there inside their own head. You shouldn't be here. You're not good enough. You don't have enough experience. Blah, 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 this. And then the person just has this, it could be anything. They could just say, I'm surprised. I'm surprised they went with you for the selection. It could just be anything that makes you feel like, oh, I really am, I'm not the one. I knew it. And you're done. You'll still sabotage. You'll destruct. You may do it slowly, you may do it quickly. And the whole time it's happening, you're in incredible pain and psychic distress and emotionally just overwhelmed. So why do this? Why even introduce it? Because what's the point of it? If you commit to do it, then do it. Now, some of these things I'm giving as analogies are really commitments. Being a parent, starting a family with somebody. But getting a job, if it doesn't work out, then if you have confidence, you'll say, well, I tried it. It didn't work out. I don't want to do this anymore. I'll go do something else. And you have just the same confidence, if not more. But other people get so caught up in self-sabotage and this faking it thing where you don't believe you were it anyway. And so then when it doesn't go well, you just are, oh, I'm so convinced. I knew it. I knew I couldn't do it. And now they're right. I'll never be able to do anything. And then it gets them in that, really negative thought spiral. Oh, I'm a failure, blah, 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 this. I'll never amount to anything. I never should have even tried. What a total sad waste of resources. Why not you? That's the thing. This confidence, which is the result of you deciding who you are and how you define yourself, it's so easy and it's free. And by easy, I mean literally it's you in your own brain. Am I this? Can I be this? Yes, I can. Again, I always use caveats so that I don't get myself where I'm, some sort of narcissist or I have unrealistic expectations. And just because I believe on that thing doesn't mean I'm going to go in there and be the best thing ever in the history of the universe on the first day. It doesn't mean that it's going to turn out that I really love doing it. It just means that why not me? Someone was going to do it anyway, right? Why not me? And if you believe that you are that thing, then it gives you huge amounts of easy contentment. You're not battling yourself at all. Now you're there at the job, you're the new manager, and in your mind you're thinking, okay, I made a decision, I accepted it, I'm here for the first day, it's my first management job ever. All right, I believe it. I am this thing. And so you give your speech and you say to everyone, hey, I'm really glad everyone came to the meeting today. I am happy to be here and to lead the department. And so, you finish that and people are walking out of the meeting and someone who despises you walks by and says, oh, I was really surprised they gave it to someone with your level of experience. Now, I have confidence, so I heard that, but I also understand, and I have the job. They don't. I mean, that's kind of the end of the analysis, right? And I'm going to go on with my day and work on my task and try to learn what I need to do and all that good stuff. So they throw these barbs, right, that are supposed to hit me, and destroy me. But the barb will only work if I set myself up to fail. And the only way I set myself up to fail is if I'm faking it. You are this thing. How do you know that? Because they hired you. Because they married you. Because you completed the degree. And now you have a piece of paper or whatever, a license or whatever, says you are that thing. And again, not that you know everything in the history of the world about it. Not that you're going to get in there and be a big success. Not that it might not be a disaster. You may be miserable. You might not do it well. Who cares? You made the decision to go ahead and try. And you're there. So you're doing. We had a show replace the word try with do. Now you're doing it. Right? So do it. And when you take away this thing where you're vulnerable because you're fighting with yourself about your lack of value, when you take that away, you're going to be impenetrable to a lot of these assaults by other people, by things in life, because if you've made the commitment and if it turns out it is something you enjoy, well, perfect. Everything in life is so easy. So don't fake it. Just skip that and just go right to making it. How do you know you made it? Because you did it. They hired you. You turned 18. You got the job. You finished school. You have a certificate. The person said they married you. You're married. You are it. So you don't need to fake it. It exists. Now you have to define yourself and get in there and give it your best and enjoy the positives. And if it turns out that wasn't the right thing, then you reassess and make different decisions and keep moving forward to surpassing your goals and having more good days than bad. That's the joyful art of business. That's the whole point of it. Now, again, when you read the show notes, you'll see the source, the article about it talks a lot about gender issues, and that's another program. We're going to talk about how, according to some of the research, the different genders interpret this whole idea of their ability to make it differently, and that when you are in a situation where you sabotage yourself and you refuse to even apply for the job, right? Then of course it makes sense. Then you're limiting your opportunities. But this is so important. Don't fake it at all. Just go ahead and make it. If you decide to do it, then you are it. Then be it. And if it turns out you didn't like it, then you go to something else. But just cross through the words fake it. And then just go ahead right to make it. Just be it. And if you aren't in your head to a place where you feel like you are it, then just decline. No, thank you. I'm not ready. Not right now. This isn't a good time. And just say no. Because you aren't that. Now, if you're an adult and it's your birthday and you realize, oh, now I'm an adult, but you really don't feel ready to go out and get your own place, maybe you're living with family, you then just tell people, I know I'm an adult, but I want to take it slower. I don't want to jump up and do all these different things. I want to make my transition. I recognize I have all these new opportunities, but I have a plan. And I want to take on things more slowly. I don't need to go do every single thing I could do as an adult immediately on my birthday. I could, maybe move a little slower. Some people, you got to make your own decisions. How do you define you? And then if you believe you're that thing, then you are that thing. You are it. You don't have to wait. You made it because you are it. Just cross through the fake it, because it's so self-destructive. All this, wrangling with yourself and fighting with yourself, and then you're so vulnerable to other people. I mean, why bother? What a waste. So again, I strongly encourage you to examine this in your own situations and your own framework of what you're trying to do to accomplish and surpass your goals. I strongly encourage you to come to CourtneyAnderson.com to episode 157. Look at our show page, visit our links. Of course, our show sponsors are there. I strongly ask you to support our show sponsors. They are what allow us to continue the show and expand it and to improve everything and enhance what we're doing. The specific sponsor I'm highlighting right now for the program is Amazon.com. Global, very wide range of products that you can obtain. So when you go to the link that's on our show page, and please do that so that you show you're coming from our sponsor, so that we are recognized for that, then how many resources are there to improve how you analyze yourself? There's an endless amount. So go there to Amazon.com and look at the self-improvement, psychology, personal empowerment, anything that you want that you think is going to start to get you on that path to be able to figure out better how to define yourself to yourself, so you can get rid of faking it, because it's not going to get what you want in the short term. It's just way too stressful, because you're standing around with all this anxiety and you're having all these negative thoughts. You're attacking yourself while at the same time simultaneously trying to do the new thing. It's just why don't do that? It's so difficult. And again, we got the link there in the show. Also, make sure that you spread the word with your social media, through your social media, about what we're doing with the show. Give me your show feedback, show topic suggestions, all of that. And again, thank you. But I do encourage you, just cross out the words fake it and just go ahead and just make it now. You did it. You are it. Be it. And if you don't want to do it and you have all that sort of reservation, I'm not really sure, that's a code that says it's not the thing for you right now at all. So decline it. No, thank you. No. I thank you so much for being part of the program today, and I look forward to you being out there in the world. You're making it. You are it. And we're not even going to worry and think about all the people who are self-sabotaging, trying to fake it. I appreciate you, as always, for being part of our program today. Thanks.